Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is, what is it today? Monday, October 27th, 2025. And a lot of fallout from yesterday's big fight with Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker. And it's always good. I mean, I did the review pretty much straight after the fight yesterday, but then it's good to actually look at all the feedback throughout the day and night, I suppose, of everyone's view on it. Everyone's, a lot of the time, has different views and opinions and everything else. I'll get to that in a second. We'll firstly just quickly go over what happened on this day and get on to what's happening in the boxing world. In 1931, Panama Al Brown retained the world bantamweight title with a 15-round decision over Eugene, I think it's Hawat, that's how you pronounce it there. 1973, Rodolfo Gonzalez, this is in LA, knocked out Antonio Pudu in the 10th round for the world lightweight title. And in 2012, Mexico's, come here buddy, we'll get in there, about to get run over. Yep, thank you buddy. Come here, up this way. Yeah, about to get run over there by a car backing out. No road sense at all. Just couldn't hear the big truck coming out of the driveway. 2012, Mexico's Gamaliel, I think Diaz, won the super featherweight title by knocking out Japan's Takahiro Aho, I think that's how you pronounce it. That was in Tokyo, Japan. That's what happened on this day. All right, so on to yesterday's fight, and as I said, it's always good to get feedback from everyone, and as expected, a lot of varying opinions on what happened, especially as far as just the stoppage of the fight. Now, I said yesterday I was sort of in two minds a little bit. I do think it was stopped a little early because Joseph Parker, while under fire, was I thought quite composed. You could see obviously he was probably more exhausted rather than hurt. I thought, but it was under heavy fire. Fabio Wardley letting it all hang out and was having success, but not really as far as being on the attack, but not so much having success as far as landing punches. And I just think the referee, probably just more from the volume of punches coming at Joseph Parker and him not returning punches was the catalyst for the referee to stop the fight. So I haven't really got a problem with it. I do feel for Joseph Parker. Geez, he's had the rough end of the stick, hasn't he? I mean, he had the fight earlier in the year with Daniel Dubois that fell over, a few days before the fight. Beat Martin Bakali, but he was the number one ranked challenger with a couple of organisations. Of course, before that, had beaten Deontay Wilder. Zhilei Zhang was just on a tear. It earned the shot at the title. If he had fought Dubois, I think he would have beaten Dubois. I mean, you never know, but I think he would have beaten Dubois, and then he would have been the one fighting Usyk. But no, Dubois pulled out to fight Usyk, and Joseph Parker, being the fighter's fighter, said, that's okay, I'll fight the next best challenger, put it all on the line. He did actually, I see, has received a little bit of criticism for risking the fight with Usyk, but I think he said after the fight he had no regrets. The criticism was, of course, that he's a number one ranked challenger. He's in line to fight Usyk next. Why wouldn't you just fight a warm-up fight or a keep busy fight or whatever? And I just don't think that's the way Joseph Parker rolls. And I know in this instance it's actually blown up in his face a little bit, but I mean, geez, he's 33 years of age. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought he was actually 35, 36. But he's 33 years of age. I just think we're a little bit quick to retire fighters sometimes. I understand that it's a brutal sport. Joseph Parker's been in some pretty tough fights, I get that. But he seems like he's got his faculties in place. He's quite experienced now. Seems like he's in still a really good frame of mind. I think he's actually hitting his peak at the moment. I mean, it didn't go his way yesterday, but I mean, let's not forget that he was ahead on the scorecards when the stoppage occurred. So at 33 years of age, I still think he's got time. He didn't seem too stressed after the fight about being set back in line. I think he understands that Wardley will get the next shot at Usyk. But geez, there's plenty of other big fights out there for Joseph Parker, and I've got a feeling that another win or two under his belt. I'm sure he'll either be on a Queensberry card or a Riyadh card or something like that. Another win or two, and he'll be right back in the mix. You got to remember the depth of the heavyweight division. Even though we talk about it a lot, it's not that deep. When you think about it, you've got Fury out of the picture. Joshua's sort of in limbo at the moment a little bit. Otama on the way up. It's really, obviously you got Justice Honey in the wings, I suppose, but the depth is not really that great, especially when you've got someone like Derek Chisora at number one in the IBF. So I've just got a feeling that Joseph Parker, they always say you're only as good as your last fight. And as I said, like the look of it at the moment is he's been set back a bit, but one more win and he's back. And who knows, he gets another win after that and he might be back in line with Usyk. I don't know, but we have this mindset in boxing, don't we, that if you lose a fight, you've got to reassess where you're at, where your career's at. But geez, at 33 years of age, he's 5 years younger than Alexander Usyk. And I'm not sure how old, what's Fury, 35, 36. So he's actually younger than all these guys. And because he's lost a fight that he was winning, in questionable circumstances, we've almost put a line through Joseph Parker, but I'm sure he'll be back. And I really like the way he spoke after the fight. You could see he was very uncomfortable at the press conference. You could see he was trying to have a smile, but he was devastated. You could see that, and his face was actually quite swollen. He's obviously worn one right between the eyes, and he looked like a bit of a vampire or something, didn't he? At stages there, but no, I thought he spoke well. I was really happy. The way everyone actually spoke at the press conference, I thought Wardley was was very respectful as well. And I think he just told it the way it was. Is, hey, yeah, look, okay, people are going to have to say, but at the end of the day, I won and I'm going to fight Usyk. I think that's all he can say. So, and as I said yesterday, don't just put a line through Fabio Wardley as far as the Usyk fight goes. I know on paper, Alexander Usyk should win the fight probably quite comfortably based on experience and everything like that. But this guy just gets it done, doesn't he? He just pulls it out. That's 2 fights in a row where he's pulled it out of the fire. And the question, of course, also amongst our watchers was yesterday with the Australian fans is where does Justice Honey rank in the scheme of things too? There's some varying thoughts about that, but my thought is, geez, his stock went way up, I think, as far as world boxing goes. People are going to be looking at Justice Honey as, hang on, Justice Honey actually absolutely dominated this guy for 9.5 rounds, and Wardley's just pulled out that knockout of Parker and is going to fight for the world title. So I think, it could probably go two ways for Justice Honey. One is that his stocks do go up and a lot of people want to give him a fight, or the opposite, where people go, hey, there's no way we're going to touch this guy. Too risky for what he brings at the moment. I think the fight with Italy will at least get him back in the winner's circle. And then I'm sure that Mick Francis and Eddie Hearn will want to step him up pretty quickly, I would think. What is he, 20, is he 25, 26, whatever it might be. Time to step him up, get him in the mix. Really good time to do it, I think, to get him involved in some of those big heavyweight fights. Not that he's already not been in one, of course, with Wardley, but I just think it's time. Come here, buddy. It's time for Justice to really step up, and I think that's what he's going to do. I think after this fight, they'll be looking to put him in with someone in the top 10, and with how sort of weak the heavyweight division is at the moment. Some good fights, by the way, but it's not strong in my opinion. At the top, it's strong with Usyk and Wardley and Parker and maybe Joshua, I suppose, and Otama coming through. But as I said before, apart from that, it's not overly strong. So throw Justice Honey in the mix, and there's some real good opportunities for him to be right up there in some of those big fights and for big money. So we'll see what happens there. But it was. The other thing was, with the stoppage. That was the other thing I was going to talk about. Yeah, a lot of people having the views that he was taking too many punches. This is Parker, and it was a good stoppage. But I think I'll let everyone just go back and forth on that, because everyone has good points. They do. There's some good points. He was under fire. He wasn't firing back. But geez, number one heavyweight in the world, a shot at Usyk coming up next. Yeah, would have been a tough one for Joseph Parker to swallow. But as I said, at 33 years of age, I'm sure he'll be back. Another big heavyweight fight. They're actually, I was going to call it big. It's not really big. Another heavyweight fight they're talking about for December 13th, actually, is Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte number 3. Now, of course, we just saw Dillian Whyte get wiped out in one round by Moses Otama. Derek Chisora, well, he just keeps chugging along. Look, if it is going to be his 50th and final fight, it's probably a good one for him to have. I mean, it means, I was going to say it means nothing in the scheme of world heavyweight boxing, but when you got Chisora ranked at number 1, I suppose it does matter, doesn't it? Because unbelievably, if Whyte beats Chisora for the 3rd time, mind you, he could find himself ranked in the top 2 or 3 in the world, and all of a sudden he's back after just coming off a first-round knockout. So it probably backs up what I was just saying about Joseph Parker. You just need to land a big fight and get a win, and you're back amongst it. But look, for me, the fight means absolutely nothing. I mean, it's a nothing fight. But for English boxing, for both those guys, I mean, it probably is the perfect matchup. I think so. Whyte's won both. I think he won the second one by knockout. Was it 10th, 11th round, whatever it was. So he's obviously got the wood on Chisora. But I think at the moment, you'd almost put your money on Chisora, wouldn't you, to beat Dillian Whyte. I mean, that fight that he had with Otama was, even though it went around, was a sure sign that Dillian Whyte's sort of finished at the top level. Really struggled. And I think he might even be younger. I can't remember who's younger, Chisora or Whyte. I think Chisora might. Whyte is younger, but he looks the more washed of the two at the moment. So, yeah, it'd be a good fight, entertaining fight. They're both very, very colourful characters. Like the first 2 fights, I'm sure it'll be a great build-up. I'm sure the English fans will love it. I'm sure they'll pack out whatever stadium they have it at. And as I said, I think it's a perfect fight for both of those guys. As strange as it is to think that we'd have a bit of build-up to Derek Chisora versus Dillian Whyte at the stage of their careers they're at. Yeah, it should be entertaining. As I said, I actually give Chisora a chance to actually win that fight. It's pretty crazy. Especially after that last. Now, Dillian Whyte did say that he had an injury or something going in the last fight. I can't remember what he said, but I think the only thing that caused that loss for Dillian Whyte was Moses Otama's right and lefts, I think, and how sharp they were. He was as devastating on the night, Moses Otama. Interesting watching him with the commentary yesterday, Moses Otama. He reminds me a little bit what Mike Tyson used to be when he was younger, like very withdrawn, just very, very, looks like a very private type of guy. I mean, there were some stages when he was asked a question, there'd be like a 3 or 4 second pause before he answered. I mean, looks like he's out there, but geez, the guy can fight. Now, he looks like he's going to actually be back in January. He was supposed to be on this card with Chisora and Whyte, so he looks like, I think it was mid to late January, I think it was, he'll be back. So I'm not quite sure who he's going to be fighting next, but 2026 should be a big year for Otama, and I would expect that this is the year he really establishes himself as a top-line contender. You're going to have Usyk tied up for 2026. You're going to have Joshua making his comeback. You're going to have maybe Fury, although it doesn't look like it at this stage. But there's going to be a bit of posturing next year as far as those real top heavyweights goes, and obviously the belts. And I think it's a real good chance for Otama to have maybe 3 fights and really solidify himself as the heir apparent to Usyk, and maybe even push for a fight in 2027. But yeah, big year for Moses Otama. Even was he 21 or something now? I think he's almost 21. So yeah, I think it could be a big year for Moses Otama, and he's a dangerous guy, and that's for sure, isn't he? Now I did see the Liam Paro Paddy Donovan fight. Paddy Donovan was obviously in the corner yesterday with Joseph Parker. Had a bit to do with the corner there. Now it has sort of been reported, and I suppose I was one of them, that it looks like it's the Paro and Donovan fight was just a given that it was just going to be on a no limit card here in Australia. But just listening to Eddie Hearn speak, no decision has actually been made yet, which is an interesting one. Now we all just get one-way sort of traffic as far as news goes here, and it was just like, oh well, Paro and Donovan's on, and it'll be on a no limit card. It could be on the Nikita and Michael Zarafa undercard. But just listen to what Eddie Hearn said. He said, no, look, the odds are it will probably be in Australia, but we haven't made up our minds. It could be in England. Come here, buddy. Come here. Don't go in someone's house. That's not very nice. Come here. Normally it's pretty good that way. Yeah, so I don't think it's a done deal yet with Paro and Donovan being in Australia, which is probably why I think I said the other day when I was talking about the Tim Tszyu fight being in December and the Keita Tszyu and Michael Zerafa being in January, that it was a little bit unknown about where Donovan and Paro would actually land, and that's probably why they're probably still negotiating. Two of the top-ranked contenders, of course, and I must admit it didn't really sort of enter my thoughts that, well, hang on, Donovan's got a promoter in Eddie Hearn as well, and he's just not just going to just hand the fight to No Limit, you would think, unless there's a fair bit going on for Eddie, and obviously the money's a little bit better coming here to Australia. And Paddy Donovan didn't seem too stressed about it either, but I did notice that it hasn't exactly been locked in yet, and I'm sure that Eddie will say, yeah, we'll come to Australia, but we want an extra couple of $100,000 or whatever it might be to come out. That's obviously what he'll do in the best interest of his client, won't he? And it's interesting that obviously Liam Paro used to be his client, and they've parted ways. So a little bit of water under the bridge there. Look, I think it was a good move for both parties. Actually, I think that Eddie Hearn would have just thrown Liam in with the best guys in the world with little hesitation, with no real strategy. I wouldn't have thought to build him up. It would have just been, all right, well, we'll just get you in there with the next best guy, where at least Liam's come back to Australia, and now he's become a pay-per-view star, hasn't he, really? Now he's getting more and more known. A lot more fight, well, 50-50 sort of fight fans know about Liam Paro. Well, not really 50-50. Probably the non-traditional boxing fans know a little bit more about him. So I get that he wants to do that. He's been fighting overseas for so long. It's been great to have him back here in Australia, and more people sort of getting to know him. And I'm sure of a big fight with Paddy Donovan comes off, and let's hope it might even be a standalone fight. That would be a good one for Liam, I think, as well, to let him have a standalone fight. The only thing will be is that if all three of those events, so the Tszyu, Zerafa, the Tim Tszyu fight and Paro Donovan are separate events, it's going to be a pretty expensive sort of 4 to 6 weeks, you would think, for the Aussies here, forking out 3 lots of $70. But anyway, we'll see. Great for Aussie boxing anyway, all those three fights. Now, what have we got left in 2025? So I think we've got the Riyadh season card to look forward to. What is that? That is November 22nd. Benavides, Yard, Noakes and Mason, Haney and Norman, and Bam Rodriguez. Oh, there's a kookaburra there. Bam Rodriguez and was it Martinez? I think it was. So that's a big card. What else have we got happening towards the end of the year? Of course, Tim Tszyu with the comeback. Just trying to think what else there. Oh, December 6th, of course. Jaya Pataya. What a card that is. I did see Terramona has got an opponent. I haven't got it written down there, but he has been matched. Now, actually, I did have it this morning, actually, where I had a quick look. Geez, I can't believe it's 3 degrees, if you can believe that at the moment. Just crazy. All right, so his name's German Garcia Montes. So he's 9-6. He's been stopped 3 times. I was sort of hoping they might get him someone a little bit better than that, to be honest. He hasn't fought for 2.5 years. What is it? And Terramona is 8-0. I think 8 knockouts. So it doesn't say how many. Does it say how many rounds it's over? I don't think it'll matter, to be honest, whether it's a 10 or a 4. It's not going too long, I wouldn't have thought. 6. Does it say here? 6 rounds. So a 6-rounder heavyweight, that's Terramona. As I said, I would have hoped maybe they would have stepped him up a little bit more than that, but it is what it is. We've got a massive card to get through. Credit to Mick Francis, Tasman Fighters, for the event they've put on. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for today. I had a few comments come through yesterday about the Fabio Wardley and Parker fight. So, hey, keep them coming. Always like to see your points of view. And whatever else you got to talk about as well. All right, guys, have an awesome Monday, a chilly Monday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.